All right, welcome back to Smile Jamaica. Illustrator Kokab Zohoori-Dossa's style is a unique combination of her favorite influences from novels to animation, film, and even music. So she zooms in now to tell us more about her work. Good morning to you, lady. How are you?
Good morning, Debbie. How are you doing? I'm well.
I am very good. I mean, we cannot ignore all the beauty behind you. Oh my gosh, lovely pieces. You have to take us back, Kokab, to the genesis of it all. How did you get started in this art? Why illustration?
Oh, well, I think that's something I've always been interested in ever since I was a child. I was always drawing. I loved reading, so drawing helped me to understand visually a lot of the things I read and translating that. So I think I fell in love with the idea of illustration because I fell in love with the idea of stories and people's stories. So after high school, I decided I love doing this. I'm going to go to art school. So that's how that started. That process and that journey really started very early for me, luckily enough. I knew what I wanted to do very early, and I went for it.
Wow, no, I'm very happy that you did because the pieces are fantastic. I'm looking at a couple of them behind you, and it's some of them are a little bit hard to make out, a little bit abstract.
Right.
Is that your style?
Somewhat, I suppose. I think a lot of things I do are very representational in terms of like faces and features, but also I think the use of the colors aren't necessarily natural skin tones, so a lot of times people have to look a little bit closely to see what it is. I use a lot of fantasy elements, a lot of plants, a lot of animals, animal elements like horns or fur or the texture of the skin, like snake skin, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't necessarily say abstract, very much more fantastical.
Okay.
Yeah, personally.
Okay, no, I love that. I also want to understand a little bit more about that creative process. You mentioned a while ago the use of different textures, and the inspiration that comes out of it, your face, etc. When you're creating a piece, what is the first thing that you normally think about?
What I think about normally, I think I start off with a very base, like, hey, I might see an image and be like, that woman's face looks lovely. I would love to draw her face. And then it starts off with her face, and slowly I'll add elements as they come up to me. So I'll see, oh, that would look lovely with a flower beside her, or maybe I want to draw a hand, but I don't want to draw a normal hand. I want to make it something more interesting. So I'm going to draw a hand that looks like a crystal, like, or an animal with just flowers coming out of their hair and their horns and leaves, and women with markings on their face. I think is something that appeals to me. I think from a very African culture place where symbols have meaning, and I like to portray that very much. So it starts out very, very simply, and as I keep going, I think I keep adding other elements that just happen to come to me at times. I think people oftentimes think artists have this big grand concept all the time, and many do, but I think what the joy of it for me is seeing something developed as I go on and create and add more and more and more. And then all of a sudden it's finished and you're like, oh, okay, I created that,
Oh, fantastic.
I think that's very much my process.
It's a great process. And I was reading your description, and it says here that your Benin ancestry and Persian ancestry actually influences your work as well. Benin in West Africa, as you mentioned that. How much of that has shown up in your work?
I think it's both evident and not evident. I think there are a lot of things that I grew up in Jamaica. I was born here, but both my parents are immigrants. So I took a lot of inspiration from the things that I learned when I was younger. I think after I went to my first visit to West Africa, to my dad's country, was in 2018. I think after that, I started incorporating a lot of that into my art, of the art that I saw there, of the way that they represented people, the way they represented animals. That was a big influence on me. I love Jamaican culture, and I think I try to represent that with a mix of all the other things that are also inside me and all the other things that I think represent me. It may not feel very, what's the word? traditional, but I think I am creating a new kind of traditional work in my own kind of style, using these influences.
Yeah,
For sure.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I know that some young person right now is looking on and, they're wondering to themselves, is this a career path that I would like to take on? Is this something that you'd advise our young people to pursue if they have interest in it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah?
I think
Okay.
if you love it, if you are willing to work very hard at it and be a little broke sometimes, a little, frustrated, absolutely. I think first and foremost, we have to create what we want people to want from us. I think once we put out something new that is from our hearts, we create a new market for ourselves. We create something new that people haven't seen before, and I think people are always interested in that. I think making money off art is extremely hard. I'm not going to lie, but I think the most important thing is in this world where there's so many people creating, there's so much content out there, we have to really make sure to be very good at what we do and work hard at that. I think art is very emotional. There are a lot of things that go into whether you're creating just for pleasure, whether you do want to pursue it as a career. If you choose to create as a career, you're going to know that oftentimes that pleasure is not going to be there. Maybe that motivation is not going to be there all the time because you have to earn a living from this. It's not always fun and games, but I think at the end of the day, once you are committed and you love it and you work hard at it, like I said, you have to honestly work so hard. But there is a joy there in creating something that's never been there before. So consistently value your art and put that out there and people will see it. Yeah,
sound advice. And I really, really appreciate all the work that you have done so far. So tell the people where they can actually find you if they wanted to find out more about your pieces, wanted to purchase something. How can they get in touch with you?
For sure. So I am on Instagram at Kokab Renee. That's KOKABRENEE. And I also have a website at kokabzd.com. Very simple. So any of those two places, you can contact me. You can see more of my artwork. If you'd like to purchase things, I also do commissions. So I'm very much open. All my work is out there to see. Yeah, those two places.
Oh, I love it. I'm giving you a virtual high five right now.
High five.
I'm giving you a virtual high five right now.
More shows.
Yeah.
More physical shows in Jamaica as well, so people can come and see it in person.
Please
sure.
do. I mean, congrats on everything. Amazing work. Absolutely amazing. And we're very happy to see your own selves represented in those pieces. So that's amazing. Thank you for joining us, artist and illustrator Kokab Zohoori-Dossa, with her amazing work there. After the break, guys, we got a bit of morning motivation with Stacey Speaks. So stay tuned for that.